Today's class, we're talking about how difficult it is for me right now to give a class. We're going to talk about how sometimes a person is in a difficult time and he still needs to perform. Even though you feel like you're stuck, you still got to get up and make the best of the situation. Right now, after this morning, my son gave me the information that Sunday this week, this coming up Sunday, he will be making a Brit Milah for his son in Miami. My son, Yitzhak, is going to have his first baby, Brit Milah. So I was Baruch Hashem Masaba, a grandfather. Thank you. And the name that they're probably going to name is Yosef, being that I'm the oldest, the son that he has, they name it to the father of the baby. Now, also to be sandak, there's a big skula to be for wealth. Somebody would be a sandak, skula to be wealthy. We know about this skula to be wealthy, it's because the person who is doing the sandak, it's compared to the mizbeach of the mizbeach hapnimi. The mizbeach hapnimi in the Beit HaMikdash was the place they did ketoret. So if somebody would do the ketoret in the Beit HaMikdash, he was blessed with wealth. You're not supposed to give two kohanim. You're not supposed to give two times the ketoret to the same kohen. One of the reasons is because the ketoret is a sigula for wealth. And they didn't give that the wealth should all be by one kohen. So they made it that they would make sure that the same kohen never got more than once ketoret in his lifetime. Because ketoret was a sigula for wealth. And somebody who is a sandak by Brit Milah, it's like he's bringing on his lap the ketoret when he does the Brit Milah. Because the Brit Milah is like a spiritual sacrifice. Similar to the spirituality of the ketoret that was on the mizbeach of the internal mizbeach. So it's a very big sigula to be sandak, and therefore people should pay a lot of money to be sandak. People should fly far to be sandak. They should be willing to pay a lot of money for a ticket to be sandak. And here my son is telling me that now that the baby came out of the incubator, because it was born in the beginning of the 8th month in Miami, they weren't expecting it to be there. They were expecting the birth to be in Eretz Israel. And the baby was born early. So they were since right after Pesach. Where are they? They're still in the hospital in Miami, and now time for a Brit Milah this Sunday. I want to tell you a little miracle that happened. My son wanted my daughter-in-law to visit my mother and my father in Deal, because my father did not come to this son's wedding. He never saw my kala, my daughter-in-law. So my son said he's going to go to Miami for Pesach, and his wife is the beginning of the 8th month, and he said, you know what, after the holiday of Pesach, they booked a ticket that they'll come to Deal to be able to meet with my father. And they still be in Deal for a few days before they come back to Eretz Yisrael for Rosh Chodesh. And my mother was coming back from Utah from Pesach with my father. Now, what ends up happening? All of a sudden he says, Abba, we're rushing to the hospital. The baby's coming out. And now I tell my mother, cancel the trip that you expected to spend time with my son. You expect to pick him up after Utah. You expect to receive him in New Jersey area. He said, you don't have to receive him because he's not going to come. They're in the hospital now. I didn't understand why he had to go through this. It turns out that my mother, who was having different pain, she all of a sudden found out that she has the shingles. The shingles is when somebody has chicken pox with their little child, or they have the shot. After the age 60, you have to go again and do another shot. You have to do what? Against what? Against the shingles. Because the chicken pox and the immunity that you have from it after the age 60 wears off. And if you don't do the shot, somebody can get the shingles. And if somebody doesn't take care of shingles within a short amount of time after they get it, it could cause them to be blind if they don't take care of it right away. My mother, right at that moment, she wasn't feeling good. She went to the doctor and they said, oh, you have the shingles. And she needs to cure it and to make sure that it won't affect her. And for the last 3 weeks, my mother's suffering from the shingles and curing and feeling better, but suffering all throughout this entire time. Now, the miracle of this whole story is that if my son's wife would have came to visit my parents when my mother has the shingles is extremely catchy to somebody who is a woman who is in the late stage of pregnancy and a newborn baby. And it was a miracle that she gave birth early in the beginning of the 8th month and did not meet my mother when my mother had the shingles. Okay? Now, I don't know if that gave you the goosebumps. But now my son is telling me, Abba, okay, Sunday, making the brit. Now, even though it's not on the 8th day, but once the minute you're able to make a brit milah, you got to do it right away. You can't wait for nobody. And the Hamohel is saying, probably Sunday. Now the problem is, El Al's no availabilities. Everything's already booked. Because United's not flying. Delta's not flying. There's no American Airlines. I can't get to Miami. I can't get to New York. So this morning I opened up my phone, I saw, $865 one-way ticket to Newark Airport. I told my wife, I said, you want to go? By the time I get back to the El Al, it's already taken. And I want to be my son's, making a brit milah for his son. I want to be the sandak. I want to have the name that they're going to call, probably Yosef, that I should be there for it. Why is it so important to me? First, why is it so important to me? Why is it so important to me? Because this same son Yitzhak that is having the son, we're going to call Yosef, he was born 22 years ago. He was born also right after Pesach. And the Brit Milah was going to come out to be on Shabbat. My father also wanted to be the sandak and flying for the Brit Milah. To be the first name, he's going to call Yitzhak Farhi. So my mother get on a plane, and they have a stopover flight on the way to Israel. While they're in Europe on Thursday, all of a sudden there's a strike in Ben Gurion Airport. They weren't able to come to land on the stopover flight. They weren't able to come to Israel. The only thing that my father was able to do was take a flight in Europe to another destination in Europe, to Germany, from there to another destination, and from there to get to Amman in Jordan, and to drive from Jordan, and to be coming to Yerushalayim after midday, if he drives from Jordan. My father says, you know what, we're going to go for it. My father and my mother, they gave out all the food that they had. They brought for the Brit Milah a lot of food. They brought all this Syrian Lebanese pastries. Chantel, I don't know what they have in America. They have all the Syrian Lebanese pastries. Chantel. So they had all these boxes, and everybody's starving because nobody expected to be stuck in Europe. There's no food in this European airport. They're giving out all the food that they have. All these Ashkenazim eating all the Syrian pastries. Wow. And then here, my father and my mother, they're coming, landed Amman, and they're driving from Amman in a cab to get a cab to come to Yerushalayim. Now all of a sudden he sees that the cab driver starts going through some village, looks like, I don't know, a bunch of crazy Arabs there in Jordan. My father's feeling, maybe this guy's realizing that my father's a Jew. I mean, he has a baseball hat, he's wearing a white shirt, wearing a black pair of pants, right? He's speaking to him in English, thinking that maybe the guy you know. And then all of a sudden my father gets nervous. He says, you know what, let me open up conversation with him. He starts to speak to the cab driver in Jordan in Arabic. My father's from Syria. Fluent Arabic, my father knows. And he's speaking to the cab driver all the way to Yerushalayim. Right? The guy says to my father, what do you do? My father doesn't want to say he's a rabbi. He says, I have a soccer team. He says, what do you mean? He says, yeah, I am coach of a soccer team. He says, really? Yes. He said, what's the name of your soccer team? My father says, JSOR.
No way.
So the guy says, I don't believe you. He opens up, he pulls out his card and the stickers of the JSOR. It has a picture of the New Jersey state. It has, of course, Jersey. He says, what's the name? The name of my soccer team is Jersey Shore Orthodox Rabbinate. This is here, you see? The guy is, wow, the coach of a soccer team. My pleasure. My father, look what he does for me to be able to come, to have my father and my son's Brit Milah, to have the name, and to have the Sandakaut. And here, I don't know if I can make it to my son's Brit Milah on Sunday in Miami. I don't see how I'm going to do this yet. Unless I'm going to stop over in Europe, 10-hour stopover, pay a lot of money. I don't know what I'm going to do. And here I have to give a class, and I have to function, and I have to work, and I have a family, and other kids need me. Right? I'm very torn. I'm blessed with 10 kids. And everybody and kids have their issues in life, and I have to help every kid with their issues. And now all of a sudden, what am I going to do?
When's the bris? When's the bris?
The Brit is Sunday. What does this come to teach you?
Is it Miami, you said?
This comes to teach you like this in Miami. You see, think about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he's stuck in a cave. He's not going to nobody's brit. He's not going to nobody's wedding. He's not going to anybody's bar mitzvahs. And what does he do in the cave? He evolves the whole Zohar. Imagine stuck in a cave, and instead of saying that I'm stuck here, I'll make the most of here. See that? Sometimes in life, we're stuck. We don't know where to go. We don't know what to do. We don't have an answer. Now I could be busy every 10 minutes, every 3 minutes checking. Maybe there's a flight opening. Maybe there's a flight. Maybe I could afford something. Maybe a back and forth. I could be sitting the whole day. And then what's going to happen? I could go till the Brit Milah, back and forth, and like a yo-yo. Or I could say, you know what? I have to do my work. Every once an hour, I'll go and I'll check the flights and see if there's something that makes sense for me to fly. But if you think about it this way, that specifically in the place where you're stuck, if you name it the cave that you're in, say, this is the place where I'm stuck. You can be stuck in traffic. And you could turn your car into a Beit Midrash. You could turn it to a university. And now that I'm stuck in traffic, what am I doing? I'm editing my videos. I'm taking out parts. I'm fixing it up. While I'm stuck in traffic, all the videos that I'm posting are all videos that I'm able to edit while I'm stuck in traffic coming back from the Kotel.
Wow. So,
while I'm waiting for my adolescent that's not coming down, I'm taking the adolescent to school. That's exactly what I'm doing in those times. If you were to imagine how much time you get stuck in your life in red lights, how much time you get stuck in your life not being able to go to places where you want to go, how many times are you waiting on somebody and said, you know what, something, instead of me getting stuck waiting, checking, instead of that, name the cave. This is my cave. This is what I'm stuck in. I'm in a place where I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. I almost got on a plane in the 1:30 flight coming out of thing straight direct for $835 El Al to Newark, and I didn't do it. I missed it. I don't know, because I was waiting for my wife to see what she wanted to do.
you want her to bring her with you?
She wants to. She could come. She would like to come. She could come. But just to come to teach you this lesson, that when you think that you're stuck in life, you have to realize that stuckness, if you accept the stuckness, accept the cave, you can make the most of the cave. You can make a Zohar in the cave. Something that you can't do any other way. There's no other way that you could have had a Zohar if you didn't have somebody in the cave for 13 years stuck. That's how you have to flip things around. It's a question if you could do that to yourself. Can you flip things around in the times of the stress, in the times of the doubt, in the times of the stuckness? You'll see sometimes big things happen like that. You know, the great rabbis, they say, you know how you become a Gadol Hador in 5 minutes? They said, what do you mean 5 minutes? He said 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. All these 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, you're stuck waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for the wedding to start. You're waiting for your friend to answer the text. You're waiting. So you're sitting there waiting. What are you just sitting and waiting, going crazy? Or just, I'm waiting. So while I'm waiting, why don't I do something productive? That's your cave. Turn it into your Zohar. Let's talk about it.